Football Games.
That's
we are now live.
What did I do for you?
No slick intro today, listeners. No slick intros. Tim, you're on mute. Right, let's pretend it's a normal. Let's pretend it's a normal show. Right, here we go.
Anything but.
Right, there's the nice graphic which I've unbelievably been able to put together after a heavy night's drinking, heavy afternoon. Welcome everybody if you're joining us on the stream. We'll be ready in a minute. Right, press record on that.
Make sure you press the red button, John.
Yeah, the button's red. The button's red.
Here we go. Evening, Mark.
Hello, Alex. Hello, Mark. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, Steve. Hello, Dan. Hello, Van. Hello, Vance in Mississippi. Brilliant.
Oh,
Mississippi. MISSIPP.
We have Mike, yes. I can't believe he played Turton, Tim. Tim is now a meme.
I am.
officially.
That's to be honest, I found it quite amusing actually, I've got to say.
He couldn't miss, to be fair. So
fully vindicated, I think, is my views on Turton. Right, a bit of decorum, gentlemen. I will start the show. Welcome, listeners. Thanks for joining us. 116 on the show, new record. Basically, to watch a bunch of pissheads talk a lot of bollocks for the next hour. So, away we go. It's Tuesday, the 18th of May, 2021. Welcome to the Seasiders Podcast Match Reaction Show. On today's playoff special, we will be reviewing what we've just watched, which was a masterclass in playoff football by Neil Critchley as the Seasiders annihilated Oxford 3-0 at Kassam Stadium. I'm John Aspinall, and this is the Seasiders Podcast Match Reaction Show. Oxford United 0. Blackpool 1, 3. Great tradition. I'll just unmaximize myself and I'll welcome the gentlemen to the post-match reaction show. Blackpool have beaten Oxford United 3-0. Tom, you're the least pissed, I hope, of all. So I'm handing over to you to please have some sort of order and structure to this post-match reaction show. So away you go.
I feel like a babysitter. Yeah, good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I wanted to start with how was the atmosphere tonight being back in the pubs?
Tim?
Oh, I tell you what, we sent a couple of videos in the podcast chat, didn't we? And to be honest, it doesn't really capture it. It was electric. It really was, and it's so great to actually be somewhere like that and to, just let fly with the chants and it was like being on the terraces. It really was, with a beer in your hand, and I'm sure that's the atmosphere that they were trying to create. I didn't even venture upstairs or downstairs, but I think downstairs was carnage. So it was really, really good. I'm really pleased I went.
Raucous, I think, is a Timism to describe the downstairs, Tim.
I think it was. I think there was tables going and all sorts. It was for the A and B blocks, I think, and you had to be under 25.
Look at this from Clef. The pod team is more of a shambles than the actual.
Matt, how are you feeling? You literally have not stopped smiling, mate.
No, yeah. And I'm only smiling because of the alcohol, basically. But we've had a very quiet afternoon in my house with my fellow compadres who are a bit camera shy, but they will make an appearance, I'm sure, at some point. And it was beyond our wildest dreams, really, wasn't it, today?
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
We'll start the show, John. Let's kick it off with the lineup. Sam, I'll come to you first. I know I messaged you before match with a bit of frustration, should I say, at the 4-4-2, but it obviously panned out incredibly well by Critchley. But go for the lineup: Chris Maxwell, Ollie Turton, Dan Ballard, and James Husband as centre backs, Luke Garbutt left back, Kenny Dougal and Stewart in the middle, with Elliot Embleton and Keshi Anderson on the wings, Sims in the eights up front. So, what was your first thoughts when you saw that lineup, Sam?
Being honest, I thought, Jesus. But you got. I think we've doubted Critchley too many times to doubt him. I think, and he's proven us all wrong. I was nervous before the team was announced, but I just thought we looked unbalanced. Embleton and Anderson, wasn't sure that would work, but fair play to the two players there. They were unbelievable, and the whole squad was. So huge praise to Critchley and the coaching staff. They got it spot on today. And my prediction of a 3-1 defeat was right down the shitter today. So well done to the lads, and that's all I can say. But Sean thought it was a 4-2-2, wasn't it today, John? 4-2-2. I heard.
He did, and I actually said, "What fuck is that team lineup?" I think Tim, we were in the Armfield together, weren't we, today? And we were all absolutely, to use Timism, bamboozled by that team lineup. And I think everyone around our table was just scratching our heads as to what formation that was going to line up in. But I do remember saying, I'm not trying to big myself up here, but when has he ever been wrong, Critchley? And as to coin a phrase from the coach, trust the process. Crutch the process. Yeah, we should crutch the process.
Crutch the process. Tim, what were your thoughts? Let's add some order to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I thought necessarily that was the right way to line up, but I think a couple of the changes were really forced upon him. I think we got the indication pre-match, didn't we, that Ward wasn't going to be playing when he sent his best wishes out to the team on Twitter. So I think we knew there, but I think most of us thought that Kai might make it, and obviously it's good actually that things have been kept close to the managers and these assistants' chest, so to speak, in that respect, because it's kept us guessing, didn't it? And most certainly, if we were bamboozled by the lineup, then you can be certain that Oxford were as well. It won't have been what they're expecting. I don't think anybody would have picked that team. I always thought he'd go with Turton. At the end of the day, he's stepped up to the plate when he needs to all season. I think Critchley trusts him more than anybody else, I think, in the squad, arguably. I think the one bit where I was slightly surprised was that Thornley was dropped and that Husband came in at centre back. I actually thought we would probably, and Sam talked about lack of balance, and I thought I'm being honest pre-match, because obviously as it happened, it played out, didn't it? But I thought we might have looked more balanced with Thornley starting, Husband at left back, and then with Garbutt pushed up into midfield. And maybe Keshi coming in on the right rather than Embleton. I think Embleton was the biggest surprise. So I don't think most of us thought that Embleton would start. But
Critchley just seems to like him, doesn't he? So I for one, probably I guessed it in the fan up. He's just going to start him, which I find weird, because if Sunderland get to the final and he has two class games, then we've got to replace him. So I thought he would go with someone that he would play all through. So, Matt, your thoughts on the lineup? If you can get your words out.
Yeah, I can get my words out.
Yeah, Tom, he unmuted himself perfectly then. So,
I know, of course I did.
Considering how pissed he is, that was sublime.
I'm an effing pro. You know I am, John. I've been doing this for months now, sure. I was a bit surprised with the lineup in so many ways, but I mean, I thought Turton was going to be a start for the away leg, but equally it was going to be a case of whether he was going to be part of a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2 or whatever we're going to call it. Ultimately, a lot of people have got opinions about Critchley all the way through the season about what team selection he makes, and let's be honest, probably more times out of we're probably been wrong. He's made the right call, and he's the man in charge, isn't he, at the end of the day? So you've just got to trust the process, as we've said all along. And I had no necessarily sort of like issues with the lineup particularly. I thought he was quite brave to pick Anderson, but obviously we don't know what the situation is with Ward and Kai in terms of the fitness. I think Husband over Thornley was a big call.
Massive call, Matt.
Massive call. But, you know, he got it right again. So, you know, you can't argue with the guy, can you? So, you know, you just got to trust him. And that's where we are with him. You know, we're 30-odd games, 40-odd games down the line with him now as a manager. And, you know, he hasn't done many wrong, has he? So 3-5-2, 4-4-2, 4-2-2-2, whatever we're going to call it. You know, he's done all right. So, you know, that's where we are with him. So, he gets my blessing, quite frankly, almost whatever 11 he picks. And there we go with it.
I'll come to you in about... Sorry, mate.
Nathan Cowburn, have you seen Carl Robinson's post-match comments? No, I'd like to see them, actually. Nathan, if you would just like to elaborate on that before Tom moves on to the next segment, drop it in the comments, and I'd love to see it. Tom?
No, I just said we've got Critchley's right-hand man. He said, don't worry, lads, I'm not going to Orient. So, yeah, we'll put our minds at ease. But we'll move on to the next segment, which was kicking off early doors that we potentially were in a bit of trouble. Tim, I'll come to you first. Obviously, a little flick from the midfielders to nick the ball away. I forgot who it was from, but he was through on goal, and Husband just mistimed his tackle. For me, it wasn't a red. Put my opinion out early, but I think the second defender was covering, wasn't he? But it was definitely a yellow.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a bit of a mistake in the build-up when the ball got played through. And to be honest, because we were obviously watching it in a pub atmosphere, we couldn't quite actually tell who it was. We had even on the replay, it wasn't immediately clear. Don't know if any of the rest of the panel spotted it, but obviously the ball goes through. To be honest, I think Husband had to do what he did. You know, I mean, your heart goes in your mouth, doesn't it, when he basically ends up in a yellow after 3 minutes, because you're straight away thinking of Lincoln at home and the other games where he's ended up going off. And I know there was a few people talking about, you know, should you take him off at half time? Should you take him off? You know, a little bit like he did with Stewart. But yeah, it was mistimed. I agree with you. I don't think it was a sending off. There was a covering defender, or at least somebody alongside. So, but you know, equally, you've seen them given, haven't you? You've seen people get sent off for that and less. So I'd say actually well done, to be honest, because I think it needed to be done, and he did it, and he took one for the team.
Yeah, I completely agree. When he's through on goal and 2 minutes in the game and we go 1-0 down, then in hindsight, it's an incredible tackle. John, your thoughts? Was your heart in your mouth initially? Did you think you would see a red card come out?
I didn't think there was a red card coming out, but I was ever slightly worried, given it was James' husband, and like Tim just said, I think taking one for the team is the key phrase there. That it was a professional foul by a professional player, and we were worried, Tim, weren't we? We were worried that husband may not last the 90 minutes, but following that tackle that he's made, it was a consummate performance by James' husband, and for the likes of Sean McGinley to say James' husband should be dropped on the preview show previously shows an absolute ignorance of the game, frankly. And he's absolutely how he's got that title of accredited sports journalist. It twists my melon, man, and quite frankly, he's off the Seasiders podcast production team after that comment.
Sam, more sobering thoughts from yourself?
I was nervous. I knew Oxford were going to start off quite strongly, and it was important we weathered that first 15, 20 minutes out of the game. But at first I thought he's gone here. The way just the camera and the referee, and I just thought the worst start possible. But luckily the referee was on our side and gave us that one, the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, after that, I think we settled down and really got at them, which was the case. And it was lucky, very lucky boy. I'm sure he was thinking about Lincoln at home earlier in the season. But yeah, one for the team.
I wouldn't say he was lucky, Sam, because there was two players either side. If he was
but he's still through
literally
goal,
the last. Was he the last man?
No,
maybe he's not last man, but he's still the shot was going to come in at some point anyway. So whether it beats Maxwell or he saves, I don't know, but he still had to make that tackle.
It was a professional. It was a professional foul by a professional player.
Yeah,
I think
it was most certainly a goal scoring opportunity and a very good goal scoring opportunity. And another ref could have done it. I mean, I don't think it's clear cut that he wasn't going to get sent off. I think, when you look back at it, you can see why the ref didn't send him off. But the fact that whatever we think of Robinson, the fact that he's screaming it should be a red card suggests that there was at least a shout for it. And I think there was a shout for it. Most certainly, we were worried, weren't we? Our immediate reaction was we were worried. You were worried.
I wasn't worried.
None of this.
I was post-match revisionism. I wasn't worried.
Post-match revisionism. He's just making it up.
Yeah, I think when he went through and then yellow card, and I thought we were going to be punished with the free kick, but it turned out to be
it was a shit free kick. Tom, it was awful. Yeah. It was in a great position. Joking aside, just left of centre. The likes of Charlie had him over that. Bang, it's in.
Excellent referee. I just thought I'd touch upon just after the husband yellow. Just Sam, I'll come to you. As a touching tribute to Jordan tonight on the 9th minute. It was is an incredible sort of touching piece from Oxford and their fan base, and obviously resonated around the country.
Yeah, many in the Armfield, especially the middle floor, stood up and applauded for a minute, which was a great emotional moment, should we say. And I'm sure people everywhere, whether they're downstairs, upstairs, or in their own homes, paid their respects. Been awful this week, especially being at PDPL, a league that obviously Jordan took part in. Has been an emotional week, being kind of part of that. But huge credit to everyone who obviously paid their respects to him. Awful news, and that win, I'm sure, was for Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And it was good the lads can do it for him as well. But moving on the 19th minute, Matt, I'll come to you. Get yourself unmuted. We had a chance on 19 minutes. The ball come across to Keshi, and both of them, Keshi and Embleton, had a chance to put it home, but it wasn't meant to be.
No, I think it's funny, really, that particular incident plus many others tonight. Keshi and Embleton, I thought, were quite fluid in terms of their positional play. I don't think it was a strict sort of 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it tonight. I thought they were really, really effective on the game. That particular incident, I'll be honest, looking around the room, I can't really recall it.
I remember much of the game, to be honest, Matt.
Am I not alone in this particular one?
You are not. You are not alone.
The viewers can add some order.
It was just to pick up. See, Matt can't remember. Sims had got the ball out on the left hand side, and he'd crossed it over, and Keshi sort of broke into the box and had a decent shot, which the keeper parried. And then it comes out to Embleton. And to be fair, he got it on target as well. I think John at the time was suggesting he should have buried that. And then there was even a little follow-up with Yates as well, where Yates could arguably have... but it was most certainly in the Armfield. Everybody was out of the seats with their heads in the hands going, It was a real sort of out of your sofa moment, wasn't it, from the point of view of everybody. So I think that...
Sorry,
you remember it now. You remember it now.
The criticism of Embleton's game that I think we've said this before. He's very powder puff, Matt, isn't he? when he gets these scoring opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's it. When you think about what happened today in terms of the goals that we've scored, particularly by Ellis Sims, I mean, it's the difference between a guy who can strike the ball and, whether it takes the deflection or not, he hits it purely, I suppose is the word I'm after. Yeah. Whereas Embleton doesn't quite do that, does he? So maybe that's the difference between a guy who can score 20 goals a year and maybe a guy who can score 5 or 6 goals a year. But that's that's where we are with Embleton, and he certainly had his opportunities tonight, and unfortunately it wasn't for us early on anyway that he was able to make those count. But it was yes, I am.
Nick Freshney, good evening, Nick. Do you know Nick?
Hello, Nick.
I reckon Matt is steaming. I know.
Yes, because I'm with his next door neighbour. That's why.
Nick's a pal of my brother. Good evening, Nick. Lives around the corner. Matt, you just sound different to me. I think that's why everyone keeps saying you're steaming. You sound different.
No, I'll tell you what it is, because I haven't actually got the microphone on tonight.
That's why.
Which must be obviously the reason.
Regardless
of the alcohol consumption.
You've got the mic there, but you're too pissed to plug it in. Is that right?
No, it's more the fact that I'm trying to get certain people who are camera shy involved in the podcast tonight. Hey-ya-yo, on the footballing bingo, where we win promotion, and this is so it's probably best that I just mute myself now for a little bit.
Can we get Matt drunk every week? Ben Holmes just said. I think we can.
We need some of that old Tim's ruin, don't we? Oh, I think he's been on old Tim's ruin.
Right, moving on. Just before the free kick, Sam, I'll come to you. It was a poor foul by Sykes, and he was quite late. And considering husband was late and just missed the ball, Sykes was lucky not to be booked.
Yeah, especially the thing of the husband one. You think he's got to be booked there, don't you? But yeah, that's maybe one reason why I think winds referees or fans get wound up by referees is due to inconsistency. I think he booked Stewart for one where he couldn't move out of the way. Player run into him, it makes it look a lot worse. But from the free kick onwards, he take that decision away. But very late on the husband there, which should have been a yellow card. But I think we'll let the referee off because he went down the other end and put the ball in the back of the net by someone who wouldn't have been on many's betting slip being the first goal scorer.
Been on mine. He'd have been on mine.
He wasn't though, was he? And then that magical moment just after that free kick, Tim, I'll come to you. It was an incredible free kick into the box, and Joe Ruffles, who had 6 assists for Oxford this season, added his 7th to the season.
Yeah, I mean,
love it. Go on, Tim. Away you go.
Tim, you're muted, mate.
Apologies, guys. My mic just came loose. So we started off with a very, very decent delivery in from Garbutt. I mean, that's what he's in the team for, isn't it? It's absolutely superb delivery. Comes in at the back post. I think there was actually 2 Oxford players who managed to get a little bit of a touch on it, and then it fell to the as I said at the time. Turton smashed it home. Prolific striker that he is in front of goal. And rather amusingly, somebody tweeted a snippet of one of my references to Turton.
You are now a meme, Tim, aren't you?
You haven't got it, have you? Have you?
I'm going to get it up now. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Have you got it, Tom?
Who took the free kick, by the way? I don't think it was Garbutt, but I could be proved wrong. I thought it was a right footer. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it was Garbutt.
Interesting. Was it?
Tim is now a meme. He's made it in line.
Yeah, so I've made it. Sorry, I've been having some. Every time it disconnects, which it's a bit of a loose connection here, it takes me back to my default settings, so I have to mess with them. And so I got a little bit of. I must have found it really amusing. Retweeted it. Somebody had obviously done this little clip. And to be fair, I was actually praising Turton, but saying the last thing you want is him in front of goal because he can't hit a barn door or words to that effect. And he proved me wrong tonight. And if you're going to get your first goal of the season, what a fantastic time to do it, and really, really pleased for him. And obviously the Armfield went into absolute ecstasy, didn't it? It was great.
Everyone see me screen?
Oh, we'll bring it in, mate. Yeah.
Turton
Hopefully it plays.
he can't shoot for toffee, can he? So it's not his game. Turton isn't. He can't shoot for toffee, can he? So it's not his game. I actually sound a bit like Matt there.
He can't shoot for toffee. That's not his game.
Yeah, but I was actually complimenting him at the time. It was a little bit of, but yeah, it was. Someone did a great job there.
It's literally out of context, Blackpool FC. So they did put you out of context, mate. So,
yeah.
Did it? Embo took the free kick, did he?
Yeah, I thought on the replay when the one from behind the goal, I thought a right foot took it, kind of in swing towards the back post, but
I assumed it was Garbett. So if it wasn't, apologies, Elliot. If
hang on a minute, gentlemen. Look who's
get him on the pod. Get him on.
Our accredited sports journalist,
get yourself
like a little rat, like a little rat, has just turned up in the comments. Who was adamant that Oliver Turton should not be playing in this game, and he's just appeared in the comments. Could have been here to take the music on the show, but hasn't turned up.
Keyboard warrior, that's what I call him.
Yeah.
Accredited keyboard warrior. Don't
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so apologies. Apparently, in the chat, they're all saying it was Embleton. At the time, I assumed it was Garbett. So obviously, I need to go to Specsavers on tomorrow.
Grace has just said, "Get Sean the Snake on."
Sean, I've just got a message on Twitter said up the XG from Sean as well. So, yeah, a bit of a tap in at the end, but in Partridge style, I've added and another a few minutes later. A lovely bit of individual skill. To be fair, I'm surprised he wasn't closed down a little bit. John, I'll come to you. Flick over his own head, but for me, a defender should be closer. But he's made him pay with a decent strike on the ball, and as Tim said, hit the target, and it's gone in.
Well, it was pretty difficult to not hit the target, to be fair, from, 2 or 3 yards out. But I just love that statistic that you've got from Josh Ruffles with all the assists that he's had prior to this game. And he's been a key assist to Blackpool scoring our first goal. So thank you very much, Josh Ruffles. If you're watching, you're a good lad. I said a good lad. And Ollie Turton, what can you say? Joking aside, Mr. Reliable, a lot of people have not slagged him off, but they've been a bit dismissive of his abilities, and I've been a main cheerleader for him this season, and he's been absolutely superb for us, Ollie Turton, all season. Let's not forget, he's played right back, centre half, right midfield. I think he even played centre midfield in one game. So I was saying to Tim in the on-field that there's 2 candidates for player of the season this season. One's Ollie Turton and one's Chris Maxwell.
I'll just leave it on the screen for you, John.
It was a tap-in by Sims, wasn't it, John? Yeah.
What are you on about? About the second goal?
If I could rewind this live video, I could. I said, and 2 minutes later, in Partridge style, we added another. I said a good bit of individual skill. Let me ask you a question again, John. John, Mr.
I think Ollie Turton needs bigging up. And that was my reason for doing it. So I'll pretend that I didn't see that.
A good bit of individual
anyway.
A little soliloquy, John. A little soliloquy to Ollie Turton.
Yeah, a decent goal from
player of the season.
I'm going to remove John from the stream.
Big shout.
Matt, I'll come to you. A good goal from Sims. A bit of skill over his head, smashed it in. Was you surprised it wasn't closed down quicker from the Oxford?
No, in a word. I think it was sort of very typical of what Sims can do. He's so confident, isn't he, in the 18-yard area? The guy, how can I put it politely? He hits the ball like a traction engine, doesn't he? in that area, he's very confident. He hits the target, as would Tim would say, hit the effing target, and he did that. And whether it took a deflection or not, it's irrelevant. If you hit the target, you take your own look after that, don't you? And the bit of skill to do that was just reward, and that's what. I was listening to the NT 20 podcast, I
Not
think
the
it's
top
called.
20 podcast.
Yeah, not the top 20 podcast earlier in the week. And they would just say, sort of eulogising about the fact that we've got Yates and Sims. And it's funny, really, because as a pair, as a partnership, they've not really sort of hit it off as such. But you can see how threatening they are as a pair against other teams. And today it was absolutely apparent, wasn't it? And, for those guys and for Sims in particular to get the chance he did in the first half, it was all his own creation, really, wasn't it? So all power to his elbow. And, yeah, great finish, great goal. And, I mean, they were dancing the streets of FY4 at that particular point, is all I'll say. Fantastic.
Good comment from here, Tim. Adam Kinder came in 10 goals and 22 for Sims. And you think if he's with us all season, he'd be pushing 20 goals as well, with considering what comments we've made about him with his first touch, and should he be starting for Blackpool? He's literally firing us to promotion, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I was, I'll hold my hand up and say that, I remained to be convinced when he first started playing for us that he had the attributes to actually really make it with us, never mind in a higher league. But I think over the last few weeks in particular, we've seen him mature very, very quickly. All of a sudden, he seems to have a swagger and a confidence about the way he's playing that we didn't see perhaps even a month ago or 6 weeks ago. And it's fantastic to see. And I think what we're seeing is a player growing up in front of our eyes. He's come to us very raw, not played any professional football, only under 23s. And he's going to go back to Everton as a very, very decent professional footballer. And we're the beneficiaries of that. We've seen it in previous years when players have come to us. Players, even Joe Hart, and I'm just thinking of a few other players who've come to us, and as a young lads, Barry Bannon, they've come to us. Yeah, they come to us very raw, and he is now a major threat, and I think he's starting to believe in himself as well. He's starting to believe that he is the player that no doubt Critchley and no doubt the Everton coaching side believe he is, and that was a sublime performance tonight by him. And we're going to go on to talk about the second half, but that first goal, I mean, Sonny mentioned the comments. It sort of had that sort of Gaza. It wasn't quite as good as Gaza, but it had sort of like that Gaza feel about it. And obviously, the ball comes out from Ballard, doesn't it? And the way he's turned his man inside out and created the space for himself. And yes, I think it did take a deflection, but me and John argued about this, but I thought it was going in anyway. And he hit it with the plumb, didn't he? Which was really, really pleased for him.
It's a interesting statement here from Wildlife and Birds UK. Maybe we can get Sims on loan for another year. I think if we go up, we've got a massive shout for that. Do you agree?
Yeah. Just before we go on to that, Wildlife and Birds, by the way, has produced probably the most famous Blackpool video of recent years, which is the panoramic from the Southend game that shows the pre-match atmosphere. So. Evening, Wayne. Nice to see you on the chat.
What the fuck's this from Bisons? Fuck you, Bisons. Fuck you. That's all I can say. You've been on the piss since 1 PM, and you can make some graphics and form a live stream. Let's see you do it.
To be fair, he did make the graphic. Fair play.
All power to your elbow, John. All power to your elbow.
Have a bit of that.
That's the Patreon down the drain.
I ain't the Patreon, so I'm not bothered. Whatever.
I think that was basically it for the first half, wasn't it? Other than that, Sam, not much happened between the second goal, as far as I'm aware. I didn't write anything else down, to be fair. But
Tim's actually made some studious notes, Tom.
I have, on the phone.
Yes.
What?
There you go.
I've got another one.
Oh God, I've done it again.
You're still on, Tim.
Yeah, so I apologise. Time I just moved, might become detached, so I have to attach it again. There was quite an amusing bit in the Armfield Club actually before half time where they'd forgotten to refresh the screen. So there's about a 2-minute segment where this square comes up on the screen saying back up,
Press
otherwise
back up.
sleep mode. And the action's going on, and we can't see anything that's going on. So it was cue some funny chants about what was it? Get your back up on for the lads or something like that.
Get your back up. Press the back up for the lads. Press the back up for the lads.
And it was a bit frustrating for the last minute or two. It made my notes anyway. Let's put it that way. I think you had to be there to appreciate it.
Fair enough. Early in the second half, Sam threw on goal.
Huge save.
Yeah, for me, just before the save, Turton's either done enough to put the attacker off. Was it Sykes? Was it? I can't quite remember. But it's through on goal. He has a hand on his shoulder and gives him a nudge. And for me, it's if he's not as close to the goalkeeper, then it potentially could have been a penalty if he goes down. But it's a fantastic save from Maxwell.
Yeah, very similar to that kind of just before the husband challenge, through on goal, got between the two centre halves, and you think, fuck, is this way back into it now? Always knew it would come out of the traps a lot quicker after being 2 goals down. But again, I said to the Bada Bing, Sean, at the pub, just said that's a massive save. In a few minutes, we'll see actually how big that save will be. There's not more to say that. He's been superb this season. 29 clean sheets. Not, I think, as Blackpool as a team all season. He's been unbelievable. There's a few people saying he's player of the season. And for me, everyone doubted him at the start, saying shouldn't have the captain's armband. But having been to games and seen what he's like around the players and on interviews, huge credit to the club. And I think we're actually seeing a group now, probably very similar to 2009-10 season, where the team and the squad are bonding with the fans, and he's an integral part to that.
Yeah, and I think Bison's just come through. That was their only shot on target. Come to you, John. They had a lot of the ball, but again, I think other than Barker, they didn't show what they were made of over the past few weeks, did they? And Barker for me scared me every time we got the ball. He showed Turton, he basically ghosted him and then sent Dougal for a hot dog as well when he just tried to take him out for a yellow card. But there's a couple of times he made us nervous. But other than that, Barker sort of a threat. We handled them pretty well considering they've scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, I mean, he was the main player of theirs that I was worried about, given his past performance and his record. And I've seen him on various League One shows, and I thought this guy is a threat. And he'd been rested previous to this, and he was fresh for this game. And I think Oxford surprised me, actually. They weren't as big a threat as I expected them to be, given the fact they've been so free scoring in the last sort of 5-6 games. And we talked on the preview show about how many goals they've been scoring, and I think as your stats showed, Tom, that they don't do it against the top sides, and it did prove to be the case in this game. And we were just comfortable, really. I mean, I wasn't worried, apart from that one shot, that one save from Maxwell. As Bison's has just said, it was just the one save he's made, and apart from that, I can't think of any other saves that they've made. And it's just an absolute testament to Neil Critchley about how he set up this team, and he's an absolute genius, really, a tactician against the top sides, and it just proved to be the case today. It was just superb from the manager.
As Bison said, other than when he didn't get the ball, we didn't really have a sniff either. So I think we asked, on the third team, we asked on our preview show as well, didn't we, for the Oxford fans, does the record against the top 8 sort of bother them? And they all said no. But for me, it was you've got to do it at some point against the top sides throughout the season to prove you can probably do it when it gets to the playoffs. And they've only beaten Lincoln when they had 7 men out, I think it was, due to COVID and injuries, and they only won that 2-1. And it showed when we showed some sort of tactical nous against them that we beat him away from home, and that, early doors it was 0-0 with Maxwell making that good saves, and we were in our learning period as well. But we showed when we went to the Kassam in the league how good we actually could be, and we've proved that again tonight for me. And I know we're not through, but we just need to have a professional performance on Friday and see the job out. But yeah, it was a fantastic night. Yeah. Tim,
I was just going to say that I think when we talk about the chances that Oxford have, I think what we've got to bear in mind here is that the reason they had so few chances is literally because of the way we play. I mean, the number of times that ball came in and we won every header at the back. We were first to the ball. We nicked nick balls off the feet of their creative midfielders. Dougal and Stewart were doing that. And it's almost like, you will not pass. It's superb to see. And the odd time they do, the chances are that Maxwell's on form and Maxwell pulls something out of the bag that makes sure that we don't concede. So I think, I don't think Oxford were quite as bad as we might think. And I think if it wasn't for the way our defensive setup sort of smothered everything that they did, they would have scored in another game. They would have scored a goal, maybe scored two. They got 20 more than us in the league, but we're so mean when it comes to conceding goals. And I think today you really saw the power of that. And just fantastic. Honestly, I was. It's not often I actually watch a defensive performance and really fixated by it effectively, and that's what I was tonight. I was fixated by how good we were in shutting the opposition out, and all credit to the team, to the manager, and everything they must put in the training, because you can see the effort, you can see that they've thought about it, and you can see how effective it can be as a tactic. And you just know every time that ball comes across, it ain't going anywhere near our goal. And I think that's it's a long time, I think, since I've watched a Blackpool side that's quite as good from a defensive perspective.
Yeah, just to touch upon that before we move on. Ballard for me tonight, we'll come on to rating the players, but Ballard me tonight showed how good he actually was. It's actually quite frightening that a young man of his sort of even experience at League One or professional football level can be so good. He was phenomenal. It's a privilege to have him at the back, and he's going to be key in the next two matches. But moving on to another player in our defence, Matt, I'll come to you. It seemed a bit ominous when he blocked the pass through to the wing to stop the cross, but he then sort of Garbett came off. Do you think it's precautionary, or do you think he's injured?
Difficult, isn't it? I mean, he's such a key player to us, isn't he, in terms of his dead balls and his set pieces, etc., etc. But this is what's great about our side at the moment. You just don't miss them, do you, when they're injured? Husband slotted in, Thornley slotted in, and you could argue that Husband was actually more attacking than Garbett was, really. So this is what's great about us in terms of we can, miss certain players, and they're so well drilled that they can slot a player in and you'd never know they weren't missing. And that's testament to the coaching, testament to the squad as a whole, and that could be the difference between us and the other three sides that are in the playoff positions at the moment.
Yeah, John said Garbett back, but I'm not sure how bad it is until tomorrow. I think, Sam, I'll come to you. That for me, Garbett didn't do too much wrong tonight. He got beat for pace a few times down that side, but when I didn't see it was 3-5-2, you almost prefer Husband being at left back, because he's flourished in when we've played that 3-5-2, and he can be free when we've got the three centre backs. But for me, when Husband slotted in at left back, he was better than he was all game, and then Thornley came in and adapted to the game as he's done so many times this season. So, as Matt just alluded to, is credit to our defence and credit to Husband and Thornley for covering, and I think he was superb at left back.
What's the stat? Is it 9 to 10 different partnerships at the back all season? It's ridiculous, really, and I'm glad that kind of management team went and bought all these players in the summer, because I really don't think we'd be where we are now without that. So that's a huge credit to them. But yeah, I prefer Garbett in a kind of the back five where he can push on, and he's not got the full license he's got the license to go forward with Hubby behind him. But I've got to say, Garbett's gone leaps and bounds since the start of the season. He's really improved, and he's one player that I hope we can keep in the summer. If we go up, great. I'm sure he'll stay. But if the worst case scenario happens, and I really hope we keep him, because he's absolutely massive. Set pieces, a few overhits today, but overall I think he's been superb for us. Another player that has really caught my eye this season when I've been to watch him. But yeah, just as a team, I think we're so hard to beat down. I think Keith Sutherland said something before, didn't he? If I can find the comment, I think it was earlier on, someone put in. I put it on the screen, sorry. Keith Sutherland said Blackpool were outstanding tonight, so organised and aggressive out of possession. And that's a massive threat up front when the ball's turned over. And that's where the third goal came from. And we just seem to know each other's roles and responsibilities. and that just comes down to everyone buying into what the manager and head coaching staff want. Just an amazing performance, which I never saw. So well done, lads.
Yeah, great summary. And just before that third goal, I won't go to Matt because there's no one there. John, I'll come to you. You I don't know if you remember much of this because you thought potentially could have been offside, but Jerry Yates' miss, passed across goal. Was it Tim? Do you know past it?
Yeah, I do remember this chance, and frankly, he should have at least to coin one of Tim's brother's phrase. He should have really hit the target. You know, with Jerry Yates, how good he's been this season, you kind of expected him to hit the target, and he's just blazed it over. He's sat back, and just maybe just a flash of, I don't know, nervousness from Yates perhaps, and he's just snatched it and he's hit it over the bar. But I did say to Tim at the time he should have really stuck that in, but luckily it's not really mattered for us, and we've gone on to win the game, so no worries.
I think it was actually husband, because it was from that left back sort of position that Matt said he was more attacking, and he's played a stunning ball across. I think he's just overstretching. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think he's just overstretched, and it's a poor miss in some respects, but one of those ones which you can let him off because he's been incredible all season, Tim.
Yeah, he looked disappointed with himself, to be fair, didn't he? I think on another day he would have made the keeper work on that one. You analyse the way he's played for us and everything he's done for us over the recent weeks and months. He's allowed the odd faux pas, isn't he?
Yeah, sure. And shortly
hang on a minute, faux pas, is that a
I'm on fire tonight.
Shortly say to in the Anfield, Tim, we got a few tonight, didn't I?
I think Tim ordered just before he finished work. He put in the group, "Mine's a double gin and tonic," and we said, "Are you from Oxford?"
And don't forget the cucumber.
Absolutely, John. Matt. I'll come to you. We've seen some goals: Swindon away, West Brom at home, where we've hit teams on the counter today, and Stewart nicks the ball away, and either toe pokes a pass or whether it's just trying to clear it, but he finds Yates who glides through sort of a couple of defenders to progress us up the pitch, and he plays a sublime pass. All credit to him. It looks a simple pass, but the weight of it has just allowed him to slot it past the keeper, and what a goal.
Yeah, we were saying in the FY4 kitchen here that if that was Premier League, there'd be sort of like, just making so much sort of positive comments over it. It was just classic counter attack, wasn't it? Yates isn't necessarily the best provider of chances to his teammates, but it was just perfectly weighted. The guys,
Matt, it wasn't easy, that ball he's played back to Sims, was it? The ball's under his feet. I didn't notice. The ball was under his feet, and he's got it from under his feet, and he's played the perfectly weighted ball in.
Yeah, he had to do a little bit of work on his own, didn't he? He had to create that sort of opportunity initially, and perfectly weighted through to Sims. And if you're going to put it through to anybody who just seems to be absolutely on fire at the moment, and Christ, I mean, 3-0 was just like beyond anybody's expectations, I think, today.
Dreamland.
Absolutely dreamland. It really was. And I think that's probably why I'm in the state I am, quite frankly.
I think all week we've said avoid defeat and getting back to bloomers and things through. And for that third goal to go in, Tim, it was usually a Yates-esque finish, but Sims just showed how confident he is at the moment. Like you said, he believes in himself now and is showing what a striker he can be, and that's the player Sims is. I think we confused him as a fan base for Medine when he first came in, because Medine was injured and he started with Yates, but he wasn't that at all, and he started to run the channels really well over the past few weeks in a 4-4-2 or 5-3-2, but those two have started to combine really well, and that between them that they've been excellent. But that was the sort of finish we've seen from Yates all year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just dealing with the situation generally. I mean, probably, when we talk about, and I think we all said this, we'll take it to be tight, whether it's 1 goal down or level, we'll take that going into the second leg. Last thing you want to do is be in a situation that Oxford now find themselves in, where they've really got a tough task, haven't they, to make something of it. And we, particularly with it as being our first game back, we were all just thinking, let's make sure we're still in the tie. But when we actually analyse the way we've played this season, we've actually played our best football away from home. Whatever the reason is, whatever the dynamic that creates that scenario, we are a good at counter-attacking side, most certainly. And even though fans haven't been in the stadium, there is always an onus on the home team, isn't there, to sort of come out a bit and to play. And I think that suits the way that we play. When a team comes out at us, we play our best football. When a team shuts up, as we've seen with some of the teams at the bottom, and just gets men behind the ball against us, then we struggle a bit. And so going back to the goal, just to endorse everything that's been said by the others, fantastic finish, fantastic move. We were defending on the edge of our area. I can't remember who nicked the ball out to Sims Stuart. From the edge. It was Stuart, was it? And the way that the lads played from there was fantastic. And they clearly believe in everything that's going on the pitch, whichever. And again, it's a point made before, I think, by Sam. It doesn't matter who's out there. The system still seems to be working. The shape's kept, and the way that we play is, I think we've all gone past now this, oh God, he should be playing. Oh God, that's not the best side. The reality is that, there is a common denominator here, isn't there? That there's shape, there's belief, and there's a system that they're playing to. And I think the players have clearly bought into it, and I think the fans are most certainly buying into it. And long may it continue.
Yeah, we've got Sam, a really interesting comment here from Dave Hall. Knows we haven't achieved anything yet, and we're not through, but it's a really interesting comment. It's the great parallel between sort of Holloway and the way we play at the moment. Obviously, with Holloway, we were outscoring teams and conceding a lot more, but
that's the difference, I'd say. Yeah,
we haven't seen a Blackpool team like this not concede 16 goals in 2021 is just phenomenal.
Parallel between probably disagree, just in terms of maybe the way we attack teams. I think there's that kind of no fear aspect, and like I said, we're going to outscore you, but if we win, you score 4, we're going to score 5. And I just think we're built more on a solid foundation at the back. Maxwell, Ballard, Husband, you name it, at the back. And your midfield, I think Dougal was fantastic tonight. I've not really mentioned him and Stewart. You think 2 defensive players in there, how they're going to cope, and they were superb. But yeah, I don't think you can compare the two. I think we're built completely differently this season compared to over 10 years ago. But yeah, on the counter, if you're looking at the counter-attacking goal, I can understand the things there that they're pushing in. We're soaking up the pressure and we go and get them. But yeah, I kind of disagree with that, to be fair.
I think you're right, Sam. I think we're more a complete side than under.
I think we're
Holloway.
Yeah,
that's a consensus in our house.
I'll mute Matt. I think we're more of a complete side than under Holloway.
Just Dave's comment here. Sorry, just step it. If you're referring to everyone knows what the place is, I completely agree with Dave there. I think if you're looking at the style of play and how we're built, I think we were built to attack more teams under Holloway, where now we're built to defend, soak up pressure, and then get teams in the counter that third goal. But no, Dave, I do agree with you there, saying that everyone knows each other's place and the team spirit, that there is a parallel there. So just to make that clear.
I think we're more multifaceted than under.
Ooh!
Goal late on. Tim, in the notes, we've got Gabriel Mitchell and Omadine came on as well, but subs came at the right time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Keshi was hooked straight after the third goal, wasn't he? And I think that's probably precautionary rather than anything else. Obviously, he's been out a long time. I think we always thought he'd probably only last 60, 70 minutes. I think he made it a little bit longer than that, wasn't it? So 75 or whatever. So that didn't surprise me at all. And I think then when you're 3-0 up, it's about making sure that you keep everybody fresh. You don't unnecessarily expose anybody to injuries. We saw Yates taken off, didn't we, for Medina after 80. And I think it's just wise precautionary tactics by Critchley. I do actually think we won't see Garber on Friday. I have to say, I think whilst that might have been precautionary, I also think he was feeling something, and I can't see Critchley risking him and putting him out of the final or being in contention for the final assuming we get through. You know, we are only at the halfway point, but I think he'll manage the squad and he won't risk anybody who runs the risk of putting themselves out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up to the hour mark, so we're going to move on to player ratings. So, John, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, the goalkeeper, Maxwell, didn't have much to do, but he was quite commanding tonight, wasn't he?
I think it was
Maxwell.
another masterclass from Chris Maxwell. You're just ultra confident with him between the sticks, and he's made the very important save when he has to, and kept Oxford out, kept them at bay. And so I'll give Chris Maxwell a 9 and player of the season for me. So well done, Maxie.
Comment from Oxford United, Sam. I was there tonight. Apart from the score, it was a good day. Good to be back in stadiums, though, Sam.
Yeah, just on the Maxwell. Just someone's put their Bison's put his crossing. Just he's not the biggest of goalkeepers as well, and he comes out and as a defender, that's what you want from your goalkeeper, someone who's going to relieve the pressure and take those moments when the ball's in the air. So yeah, for me, he's up there and fully deserved the 9 that John's given him.
I think it was one of his best games tonight, in terms of commanding the box and the crosses, etc. So yeah, Sam, you've got the next one, Mr. Turton.
Yeah, solid as ever. Got the all-important first goal, which people didn't expect. No names to be mentioned once again. But
sure.
Accredited. But yeah, I think he was solid again, rightly to be picked in that formation. Thought he was going to get exposed with Embleton and Anderson pushing on forwards, but superb tonight. I'm going to give him an 8.
An 8?
Harsh with an 8. Wow.
Look off, Tabs. Come on, 9. Come on. He
a goal and a clean sheet.
And he scored.
Revise that now. Revise it.
Ah, you Shawnee. You Shawnee.
It's just text me.
Disguise. Oh, you Sean in disguise.
Oh, Sean says give him a 9, by the way. Yeah, right. Go on. Cheers, Sean.
Listen to the accredited player. Tim, I'll give you a man mountain tonight in Mr. Daniel Ballard.
Yeah, I think again a little bit like probably more assured from the start, but a little bit like Ellis Sims. I think we're seeing a player mature. I think we're seeing a player who will undoubtedly be playing Premier League football, if not next year, then most certainly the year after. And I think it's arguably his best performance tonight, and I'm giving him a 10. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Tim, just to interject there, sorry, Tom, that I loved Dan Ballard's tweet that he put out this evening. I don't know if anyone saw it before the game day, and he's tweeted a picture of himself wearing a Blackpool kit with blood rushing from his eye socket. I mean,
dude, it's Terry Butcher.
Gary Briggs. I was thinking Gary Briggs, Terry Butcher. I love to see things like that. Even though he's so young, he's a warrior. He's a warrior in a young lad's body. So brilliant, Dan Ballard. Superb.
Couldn't agree more, Ben. Ballard is one I would move heaven and earth to keep. Yeah. As much as I think we could offer what we want, I personally don't think that Arsenal will.
Hopefully, if we go
I think if we get the Championship, I think there's a chance.
Yeah,
me too. There'd be. It might be an Arsenal type thing to do if we put a good enough bid in. They just go, let him go, and not realise what a talent they've actually got. So
fingers crossed.
We pray.
Come on,
Matt, compose yourself, Mr. Stephen. Husband, sorry.
Stephen Husband.
I don't know why I've got something down there. I think I'm drunk. James Husband. Who's Stephen Husband? Did he used to play for us?
He did indeed, yeah. It's hard. Anyway, James Husband. I tell you what, he's one of those players I've never really sort of admired. Anybody who watches the podcast will know that. But the thing with him, he's like one of the players you would want on your side and wouldn't want against you. So I thought he did really well today. He was unfortunate in one or two sort of decisions that were, I don't know, against him. But he's such a professional and such a guy who you want on your side at the end of the day in these sort of circumstances. So for me, it was a solid 8 out of 10 performance from him. And in fact, you could almost put a bit of a Tim plus on that because I thought he got better when Garbutt went off, weirdly.
Yeah.
And he's been booked. And he's been booked as well, so he's playing that.
Yeah. Quality all round.
Before he went on the travels, that's what I said. I said when Garbutt came off, he was phenomenal in the attacking presence, and he set up Yates for potentially that third goal, which he missed as well. So every credit to Stephen Husband tonight.
I wanted my travels to go for a wee, by the way. Just let you know.
John, Elliot Embleton.
Right, I'm just going to have to
that was a good call.
Scroll around. Elliot Embleton. He was a funny one tonight, wasn't he? And I think we were all adamant he shouldn't be in the starting 11, but I think he kind of justified his place today, and he had a good solid game, and I'll give Elliot an 8. I won't pretend that I've seen that much of his play tonight, but what he did looked pretty good, so I'll give him an 8, and we've won 3-0.
Yeah. Dougal, Sam.
One of those performances again where I don't think he gets the recognition that he probably deserves for his performance. I think he does the simple things in a game really, really well. Breaks up the play. I think someone said before he's on your ankles as a defender, and someone who dictates the play as well and sets the tempo. I got criticised for the 8, didn't I, before?
Didn't score though. He didn't score. I think he might be just 5 with your 8.
Yeah, go 8. 8.5. Yeah.
8 plus it is.
Sam, you're a fielding, so you're surely aware of the fielding international player rating standard.
It was good 8 today. Yeah.
Tim, I'll come to you in a second, but I did miss Garbutt out, which I'll go to Matt for. Matt, Garbutt, I missed him out.
I think we missed his quality, in terms of his distribution and all the rest of it. But the time that he was on the pitch, he was good, but difficult. I mean, it was a 7 plus 8 out of 10. He didn't do anything wrong, but you just wish he was there for 90, don't you? And hopefully he'll be there for the next game, and hopefully he'll be there for Wembley. Difficult.
Tim, I'm interested if you hopefully remember much of Stuart's performance. For me, it was a mixed bag in terms of the difference between him and Ward. Ward probably, he is much more energetic, nicks the balls a lot more, and is more of a presence in midfield. But I don't know if Stuart's been off it a little bit, or if I'm just overly critical on him. But what was your opinions on Stuart tonight?
Yeah, I've got a bit of an issue with the blend between him and Dougal. I think I think Dougal was better than you've said there, Sam. I think Dougal was a 9 out of 10 performance today, but Stuart, he does a lot. He does a lot of sideward passing. He's almost a little bit like the Ray Wilkins. For those of the certain vintage will remember for the 1970s and early 80s. There's a lot that, but he keeps the ball well. I think Phil said that. I think it was Bison said that the little nick for the third goal was his first forward pass. And I think that's a bit harsh. I think I thought you could tell his quality, but I think we get a better blend with Ward and Dougal, and we might get the same blend with Ward and Stewart as well. But so I remain to be convinced that as a 2, they're the best central midfield pair we've got. But I thought it was a decent performance tonight. I don't think it was quite a 9. I think it was probably about an 8, a good 8.
Yeah, Phil's interesting comment in that system. Dougal and Stewart are key, and maybe if Ward didn't play and Stewart didn't play, I don't know what other player would maybe do the job of Stewart. So I don't know if I'm being critical of him or not, but he probably offers a lot more.
I think Stewart gives Dougal a little bit more license to get forward. I think he's that more of the anchor man in that team. Maybe is that sideways passing player, but you do need someone in that team who can do that. And Dougal's the one who, like we saw at the start of seasons, threading those balls forward into the strikers and going forward. So I do think there's a good blend there. And I agree with Phil.
John, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Kashi was very good today, linking up the sort of the midfield and the attack, and I think he was the perfect player to be playing that role today. And he just kept things ticking over and kept the linking between the midfield and the attack. And yeah, he was the not the glue. What's the word? He was the conduit to keep things going and keeping us and attacking in a positive sense. And I thought it was a great performance from Keshi, and he's just slotted straight in. And it's as if he's not been out for the amount of time he hasn't. It's just a credit to him that he's just slotted straight into the team. And I'm going to give Keshi an 8+, and long may it continue. Keshi, brilliant, a brilliant performance.
Something you just said just resonated with me. I think he had a horrific injury. And he's come back, like you said, he hasn't been injured at all. So every credit to his own recovery and his own fitness. I think he was wasted in the first half. I think he wasn't touching the ball much. I think second half he got himself into the game a little bit more and helped us, as you say, tick over. And other than his absolutely ridiculous booking, which he continued just to keep dribbling the ball away from the player, I think overall, he grew into the game and probably deserves an 8 tonight as well.
Is that bit of class that we've been lacking in that role? So
I think
he looks a new player, doesn't he? I think actually in the summer, I think he's come with an injury. I would say, I think the first game he was back, he just looked the player we all thought he would be in the start of the season. I think that actually getting his injury sorted has been huge for him and the club as well. So great to see him back on the pitch, as you've all said.
I remember Tim said he just sometimes doesn't look right early doors. And he got the winner against Portsmouth stuff. Sometimes he wasn't moving very well. Sam, I'll come to you. Yates, constant worker again tonight.
Yeah, obviously not got himself on the score sheet, but I think integral the way he actually closes down defenders and his work rate off the ball. The assist for the third goal is unbelievable. I think the actual weight of pass, whether the goalkeeper stops halfway, criticise him maybe, but I think his work goes unnoticed by people a lot of the times. And having been at games and actually witnessed it firsthand, I think people realise on Friday how important he is in this team, and he frees up Sims a lot. So even though he's not scored, I think he deserves a 9 for his work rate and the assist as well. And I think that's just pure quality, to be fair. There's just the ball through,
I think,
confidence.
You summed it up. I think he's made a pass that good, the keeper literally has no idea what to do.
He comes, doesn't he? And I think he stops. And I'm thinking if he comes, he gets the ball, I think. But the ball's just... It's perfect.
It's on a plate, I think, is the phrase, isn't it?
And over to that man who scored 2 goals tonight, Tim. Probably and easily his best performance, in my opinion, in a tangerine and white shirt tonight. Sims.
Yeah, I mean, just to endorse what you say, I think that is Sims' best game in tangerine. And I think we saw a boy become a man in football, in the football context tonight. And I don't know how long he's going to be with us. If we could maybe again, like a little bit like Ballard, maybe get a second option on him. But I think we'd only do that if we're in the Championship. I don't think he'll be playing in League One again after hopefully after a week on Sunday. That was just actually bizarrely. I think he had a fairly quiet first 15 minutes, and then he just almost like seemed to come alive, and he was the best player on the pitch. And I can't do him give a high praise than that. And I'm going to set podcast history tonight by giving my second 10. Well done, Ellis.
After the start with Oxford, the husband booking and Oxford attacking and having a lot of the ball. I know they weren't overly effective, but they scared us a little bit. I think early doors we were a bit rattled, and him in the corners with two players on him, shrugging him off, passing it off, and his first touch improving, and getting the goal. So after the first, he was such a vital player tonight, and I completely agree. John,
how key is he? How key is he when that ball comes in midfield and he flicks it over someone midfielder flicks it over the defenders? He just rolls defenders, and I think did he do it at Swindon away or something similar where it just ball over the top and he's gone through? And I think if you play to his strengths that way instead of sometimes ball to his feet or balls over the top directly, he's a handful. I'd love to see him back again at Blackpool. Thinking whether it's next season in League One or the Championship, I think he's grown, isn't he? And fully deserved his man of the match performance.
Yeah, you think of certain points tonight, like Charlton away, played ball over the top, got brought down for a penalty and stuff. So played to his strengths. He's a menace.
Just an additional point. I think this really probably says more about the way the player is becoming than anything else. Is nobody's shouting for Medine to start, are they? And 6 weeks ago, we would all be champing at the bit, saying we've got to start Medine. We've got to give him. We've got to effectively take a chance on him because we need him. And the reality is, Ellis has filled that void, and we had a void, and we haven't anymore. And that's testament to him.
No, I completely agree. If anything, this is maybe a harsh thing to say, but because we're so used to playing without Medine, he's actually offered us a better outlet in some respects. The way he's continued to grow, I don't know, but he's certainly becoming an incredible player. But John, not too much of the ball or too long on the pitch, but Mitchell.
He was a positive force on the game when he came on, and he took the pressure off the midfield, who we've put a hell of a lot of effort into that game, and he was an out ball for us when Mitchell's got the ball, he's driven forward. And the key for was taking the pressure off the rest of the team, and he's done that. And what a great option to have coming off the bench. And he was a real threat when he came on, and it's just incredible to see the kind of strength and depth that we do have. And I think I said to Tim pre-match that look at that bench. Look how strong that bench is compared to, I don't know, rewind to sort of 3 months ago when we had zero options off the bench, didn't we? And it's just absolutely fantastic to see. And again, big up Simon Sadler for building a squad of such strength and such ability across the team.
Absolutely. Matt, I'll give you Gabriel. Again, didn't do too much, but he was important energy on the pitch.
Yeah, and that's the best thing about our squad at the moment, isn't it? Anybody can sort of switch into any position, whether it be Gabriel on the right or Mitchell on the left or whatever. This is where our strengths are, and the guys have done fantastically well to get us into this position. And you look at these guys and you just think they are so sort of like coordinated as a result of what's happened over the last few weeks that anybody could play in any position almost. And that's what is really, really sort of impressive about our squad at the moment. And that's where we are. So I can just fall over and go drunk tonight. Thanks very much.
Get drunk. Get more drunk.
Yeah. Is that right?
I love that one, Dan.
Matt, you've said...
have I hit the nail on the head?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Rolly Birkin QC. If anyone used to watch the Fast Show.
Matt, you've just said the boys have done well to get them and themselves in this position. I think they've done well to get you in your position tonight.
Anybody who can keep me in my position tonight has done well.
Cliff wants you to have your own show, Matt.
Oh, phenomenal. Finish off with Medine. Sam didn't too much to do, but he added that bit of experience on the pitch at the end, didn't he?
I think I was too busy cheering for beer at that point to really see what he actually did. But yeah, I think it's just, as everyone said, the subs have done their job, haven't they? They've come on and kind of just seen the win out, and it was important we didn't concede late on. That's the worst thing, isn't it? You go and play so well, and last thing you do is concede a goal. But every player was played their part tonight, whether it's started or sub. So, yeah, good performance. Or it's hard to give them a rating, isn't it, really? But yeah, they all played their part of subs for me.
I think what we have got now is we've now got, if we need it in that last 15, 20 minutes, we have got a proper plan B, haven't we? So, you know, if either Yates or Sims are not performing or get a knock or just looking tired, we've got the ability to put Sims on and maybe just slightly change the way that we approach our forward play. Yeah, to get the ball into him quick, into feet, and it gives us that other option where beforehand we've only got that one way of doing it. And if teams set up to counter that, sometimes you do need that plan B. I think somebody said in the chat that I think, you know, they think that Medine maybe has a role to play in the playoffs between now and the end of the season. I think he probably does, and I think we might yet see something, you know, that he has a rather pivotal role. So let's. It's good to see that we've, and I think Matt, you know, Dawson, the point Matt said. Every position is covered by at least one player. Probably the only area where we're slightly weak in cover at the moment, because of with Ward being injured, is unless hopefully he's back, is centre mid. Where I think if we lost Dougal or Stewart at the moment, we can put Turton in there, to be fair, but I don't think we've got cover for both of them, have we? That's probably the only area. Everywhere else on the pitch we've got cover, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic to have that, because no other team will have that.
Finish with man of the match, and I think it's going to be a pretty easy one tonight. But John, I'll start with you.
Only one contender for me, Ellis Sims. Sublime performance from the young man up front, and you know, as I was saying to Tim in the Armfield 10 games ago, he was very not powder puff, but he definitely wasn't the first name on the team sheet. But that performance today just had everything for me, and I can't see anyone beyond Ellis Sims. So well done, young man.
Sam?
Yeah, you've got to go for Sims, very closely followed by, for me, Maxwell. Close contender for what he did, but yeah, you've got to give it the man of the moment for his performance, especially that first goal of his was just unreal. A player who's obviously full of confidence. So long may it continue for 2 more games.
Matt, I promise this is the last question, but do you agree with everyone else and Ellis Sims?
Of course I don't. Why should I? No, I think Ellis Sims did brilliant tonight, but I would be in an old school sort of centre half myself. I thought Daniel Ballard, after he got that ridiculous booking early on in the first half, he's just such a quality player, and I thought he held us together, and I would give it Daniel Ballard myself.
Did Ballard get booked, did he?
I think he did.
His husband got booked early doors.
I'm sure Daniel Ballard got a warning anyway.
Thank you so much, Matt. You've been incredible tonight. Tim?
I've done well tonight, I believe.
You've done very well, mate.
Fantastic. I've got to say that there's 3 big contenders there, and on any other day, Maxwell and Ballard would have walked it. But I'm not gonna take this one away from Sims. He deserves it, and it was the consummate performance by him. And I hope he's going to play like that in this next game. And I hope he's going to really take to that stage if we get there at Wembley and show the rest of the country what he can do, because he was immense tonight. So man of the match, Sims.
Nice comment there. Matt is becoming cheesy, getting players mixed up. Steady Eddie. You're far from a steady Eddie tonight.
A dose of salts. What is it, Matt? He always says.
Just to summarise before I pass over to a very half John. Tim, Sam, others, just feel free to comment. Would you make many changes on Friday, or would you keep it the same and see this match through? Because we've got a big gap until a week until Wembley if we do get through.
You can't. I don't think you can assume this game's over.
No,
and
of course you can. It's 3-0, Tim.
No, you can't. As somebody said, remember Bradford. So we need to take this, go into this game as if it's 0-0 and play just like we'd play any other game. If we get a decent, if we get a good start, we get 1, maybe 2 goals, put put the tie beyond doubt, then maybe start pulling certain key players off and playing some of the subs and rest them for the final. But otherwise, and I think even though I know we're running out of time, but I think we should mention Critchley's approach here. I think he set a team up today, which I think has done a great job. To go into the second leg with a 3-0 lead is sort of beyond anybody's expectations, really. And I think he deserves a lot of praise for the way that he went about that tonight. And he clearly did a job on Oxford. He knew exactly the way they were going to play, and he negated that and made sure we played to our strengths. So I was very impressed.
We'll agree on 10 for Critchley. He's phenomenal tonight and deserves every.
I don't think there's a doubt there, really, is it? That's how to manage a side.
Absolutely.
And they had a sports psychologist in their ranks. Tom,
I did love
Bloomfield, if you remember. What was his name?
Yeah, Mr. Bloomfield.
Mr. Bloom, that was it.
Bloom, I said, didn't you think you should be giving the sports psychologist to Carl Robinson for the weekend? Because Tim, just before John summarises, did you want to let the viewers and listeners know about a very important thing happening on Friday as well?
Yeah, as well. Luca from Notriani's, and along with a group of other people, are leaving Common Edge Road, where Jordan very sadly lost his life last Monday, and they're going to walk to Anfield. Now, I've done the Blackburn via P&E to Blackpool, 30 miles, and that was hard work. And this is at least another 10 miles on top. I think Luca told me it's 41 miles. So I think if anybody can give some support, there is a link in the chat. We'll also, I'm sure, the podcast will put it up on AVFTT as well. But it's on Just Giving, and incredible effort. And Luca, you are going to be in pain after you've done that. I can promise you. 40 miles, you'll feel every one of the last 15 or so. So every credit, mate, and I hope you raise lots of money.
And he'll have to have a few ice creams to get him over the line. Maybe
he's got a flake mountain in his shop at the moment. I saw a picture of it today because apparently there's a national shortage of flakes, but I think he's got them all.
Fantastic. Gents, has been a really good night, but I'll pass over to John, Mr. John Aspinall's podcast to finish off tonight.
Yeah, so thanks ever so much, viewers, listeners, etc., for joining us. If you like 5 pissed up blokes in their 20s and 30s and 40s, 50s even.
29, mate.
Yeah.
29.
At various stages of their life, if you enjoy these kind of shows, do hit like, do subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. It was a unbelievable performance from Blackpool this evening, and thanks ever so much, gents, for joining us. Thanks for everybody on the chat for joining us on YouTube and on Facebook and Twitter. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring this show to you this evening, and we hope you join us. We're going to do a preview show before I think it's Friday, the next game, so we may get a preview show out on Thursday. Tom's shaking his head there. We've all been very busy, so it's been an absolute slog getting this out there. And we do hope that you join us on the preview show, and we'll be coming out on Friday after the next show on the Match Reaction show on Friday. But brilliant to see everyone on, and we hope to see you all at Bloomfield Road on Friday. Us season ticket holders, what remains to be said is thanks for watching, thanks for downloading, and up the pool. Come on, you Super Seaside. Up the pool.
That was phenomenal.